What's up, Ragin Nation? How's it going? This is Alex Yu, and you're watching the Marvel edition of the Ragin Nation Show. This is Webster's. We're talking about all things that matter to me in the world of Marvel films. This is episode number 132, and in this episode, we're going to follow up on what I talked about in the previous episode, and that is about the X-Men films. Now, in the previous episode, I talked a lot about X-Men Supernova, which is the tentative title for the follow-up to X-Men Apocalypse. But there are more X-Men films coming. And one of the X-Men films that I didn't talk about was Gambit, and also New Mutants. And also, not totally related to X-Men, but Fantastic Four. So, before I talk about any of that, I am going to first talk about something that's a little bit of a bittersweet topic, and that is Patrick Stewart is no longer going to be playing Professor X. Yes, I know it's very, very sad. Just like how Hugh Jackman is no longer going to be playing Logan, Patrick Stewart is not playing Professor X anymore. And we're going to see them both together for the very, very last time in Logan. But keep in mind, it has been 17 years since the very, very first X-Men, which introduced both characters, and I think it's about time that they're done. And like I said, it's bittersweet, because it's sad to know that they're not going to be playing these characters anymore, but it also feels good to know that they've made quite a big accomplishment, because from what I understand, Logan is a spectacular and a very triumphant film. And I'm going to go into this film knowing that they're going to put in their all in this film, and it's going to end their characters in a very, very appropriate way. So, with that being said, if they're going to put in the best performance and this is the best story for their characters, then it probably cannot be beat. And with that being said, then maybe it is the best way for their characters to see their final conclusion. So anyways, this is what Patrick Stewart had to say with regards to him no longer playing Charles Xavier. A week ago, Friday night in Berlin, the three of us sat watching the movie, and I was so moved by it, much more moved than I had been the first time of seeing it. Maybe it was the company of these two guys, but the movie ended, and this is an admission, but at one point, Hugh reached out, and he took my hand in those last few minutes, and I saw him go, Mimes wiping a tear from his eye like this. And then I realized I had just done the same thing. Then the movie ended and we are going to be taken up on stage, but not until the credits were over. So we had some time to sit there, and as I sat there, I realized there will never be a better, a more perfect, a more sensitive, emotional, and beautiful way of saying au revoir to Charles Xavier than this movie. So I told Hugh that same evening, I'm done too. It's all over. So, just like what he said, it is just there's no better way to end their characters. And even though I am sad about knowing that they're no longer going to be playing those characters, it's also, it's a nice thing to know that they really put their heart and soul into this, and their characters at the end come out on top. No matter what, they still did the best that they could ever do. It's the best portrayals of their characters, and the story kind of ends for them. So that's that. So I would like to say congratulations to them both, but at the same time I feel like there's nobody else that's going to play a better Professor X and Wolverine. They're going to go down in history as the characters that played them the best. So that's that. Moving on, let's talk about the Fantastic Four sequel, New Mutants, and Gambit, and what exactly is going on with those two films. Well, Simon Kinberg has been doing a lot of interviews, so what he talked about is, of course, Fantastic Four, and here's what he had to say. I think the truth is we would not make another Fantastic Four movie until it was ready to be made. One of the lessons we learned on that movie is that we want to make sure we get it 100% right, because we will not get another chance with the fans. That is absolutely correct. You're not going to get another chance with the fans because you've had 3 strikes already. The first 2 Fantastic Four films were not great. They were just averaged at best. And then the third one was just an abysmal failure. So 3 times, those are 3 failures, 3 strikes. And by the time you get to the 4th time, even if you ended up making a great film, which has like 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, and you got a great director, you got a writer, and it ends up being a really, really well-received film from the critics, the fans don't see it that way. They see it as like, oh my god, another one. It's gonna be a bomb. I don't care that it looks good. It's gonna be crap. So they're not gonna give you another chance. So I don't know even if it's if it's even a good idea to make another one. All right, because let's say it was really, really good, but it ends up being a box office failure, then you really have learned your lesson, and that Fantastic Four is dead unless it is handed over to Marvel. Okay, moving on, let's talk about Gambit. And Gambit is happening, but most likely not until 2018. Like, as in production, like filming, it's not going to happen until next year. But at least Channing Tatum is still committed. Let's take a look at what he had to say here. It's in active development, Kinberg said. It's a movie that we hope will be ready to go by the end of this year and shoot next year. We have 2 or 3 X-Men related movies this year, so it can wait for a moment. The process has been that Channing Tatum is as determined about getting the character right as Ryan Reynolds was about Deadpool and Hugh Jackman was about this Logan movie. We know that when we get those right, the movie succeeds, so we want to make sure we get Gambit right because we want him to be the beginning of a whole new franchise. These are really great positive words that I'm hearing from him. I would love to see a Gambit movie. I really would love to see one. But I would only like to see it if they do it right. I don't want to see a half-assed version of this film. It could potentially be a great franchise, but they need to get it right. So it's good to know that they're treading very carefully. Now, let's talk about this New Mutants film and what's going on there. With regards to New Mutants, let's see. Okay, here we go. We're gearing up to make both of them this year. New Mutants, we're waiting on a new draft of the script, which we're all very excited about. Josh Boone has been prepping that movie. Josh is someone who is a lifelong hardcore fan of New Mutants, and the plan is to make that movie late spring, early summer of this year, and have it come out next year. So check this out. X-Men Supernova is filming this year with a 2018 release. And also, New Mutants is filming this year, also with the 2018 release. Deadpool 2 is also filming this year with the 2018 release. So that's going to be really, really exciting. 3 X-Men Universe films in 2018. That's a pretty big deal. So let's talk about Deadpool 2 and what is going on with that. Well, the latest bit of news is that Rob Liefeld, the original creator of Deadpool, he's been tweeting at Russell Crowe, and Russell Crowe has been tweeting back. So he tweeted, "Forgive me, sir, it's an absolutely irresistible notion." And then he showed a photo, an image of Russell Crowe as what he could look like in as Cable. All right. So then Russell Crowe tweets back, "I should read for it. I'm sure if Ryan Reynolds has any interest in that idea, he'll find a way." Rob Liefeld tweeted back, "Note to self, don't caffeine tweet Russell Crowe before nodding off to sleep." So Russell Crowe has been approached about, in a very odd way, a very brief way, about playing Cable, but nothing official has happened. But there is something official that is going on, and that is, David Harbour. He is the actor who plays the sheriff in Stranger Things. Apparently, he has been in talks to play Cable. And actually, I never thought of David Harbour to begin with. I thought of a lot of movie actors, but not a whole lot of TV actors. I first have seen David Harbour in Stranger Things. That's how I've known of him. So it didn't come to my mind that he could potentially play Cable, but the fact is that he has been contacted about playing Cable. That's official, but his party has not commented on that, so we don't know what is going on there. So he is a potential candidate for Cable. Now, there have been all kinds of candidates, and a lot of fans have put together fan art for what Cable could look like as the following actors: Dolph Lundgren, Keira Knightley, Ron Perlman, great choice by the way, Russell Crowe, Pierce Brosnan, and Stephen Lang. And all these actors, I'm sure most of them have mentioned that they would love to play the role, but so far none of them have really been potential candidates, as in like they're in the front runners to play this role. So far, David Harbour is the only one that is really potentially going to succeed at getting the role, just because he has been at least contacted. So there you have it. That is all that I have to say in this episode. I've mentioned a lot of Cable potential actors, but what do you guys think about David Harbour playing Cable? I mean, he's definitely got the size, he's got the stature for it. He can look the part. He's just got to work out a little bit, trim off some of that, you know what I'm saying, from Stranger Things, and get in shape, and then he could play the role. And it would be really, really interesting to see David Harbour act alongside Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool. That's going to be one hell of a mix. Anyways, that's all I got to say in this episode. Why don't you let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And as always, if you enjoyed this episode, you want to see more, hit the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, like me on Facebook, The Ragin Nation. Also follow me on Twitter, Ragin Nation. My name is Alex Yu. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace. I don't know if I'm going to make it unless it's exactly what I want. I prefer not to do it. I couldn't live with it, so this is it. So, really,